sentence was 5 years. 5 years in prison. You can say that in no time at all. But when you're living it behind bars, it's forever. With the deadly monotony of 2 years already behind me, I wasn't sure I could take the 3 still to go. Only the hope of getting a parole kept me going. But as time dragged by, I gave up hope. Then, one day, I'll never forget it, they suddenly came and told me I was wanted in the superintendent's office. Ann Martin, Miss Harrison.
Mr. Carlyle of the Parole Board has their recommendation on your case, Ann.
Ann Martin, convicted as an accomplice in a jewel robbery. No previous criminal record.
Oh, after a little trouble at first, her conduct and cooperation have been excellent.
Miss Martin, does the name Praskins or the town of Linwood mean anything to you?
No, I haven't heard of them, sir.
Well, Linwood is a pleasant little place about 50 miles from here. It seems this Praskins knew your mother years ago back in Toledo. He wants to help you get a new start, working with him in his candy store.
How does that sound, Ann?
It sounds wonderful.
Are you sure you wouldn't get restless? After all, it'll be very different from the life you knew before.
I don't want any part of that life. I'll go to Linwood. I'll go any place, just so long as I never have to spend another day in jail.
All right, young woman. You'll have your chance.
Out of Linwood, what will Ann do about reporting regularly to a parole officer?
I've seen this Praskins and arranged to accept a weekly written report from him, as long as all goes well. You see, Miss Martin, we try to do what's best. We go a long way to help when we think we're right. We hate to discover that we've made a mistake.
Oh, you make no mistake about me, sir. I'll show you how right you are. I can't tell you how grateful I am. And I meant it. Neither Carlyle nor the superintendent ever knew how much. When they handed me my clothes, my bus ticket to Linwood, the usual lecture, and a $5 bill, all I could say was thanks. After prison, even the little town of Linwood looked like paradise to me. While I stood there taking it all in, I couldn't help wondering what this Praskins looked like and how he'd like me. Did jailbirds show in my face? I didn't think so. Yet, I wanted to look my best at our first meeting. A little lipstick wouldn't hurt. When I discovered I'd lost it, I headed for the drugstore across the street. Pardon me, is there somebody here who can wait on me?
What do you need?
A lipstick.
Lipstick? That's on the shelf right behind that counter. Help yourself. That's right. A little closer now. You're getting warmer. Warmer. Oh, you're burning your... You've got it. Good girl.
I hate to bother you again, but how do I pay for this?
Why don't you try money? It's legal tender in Linwood. There's a price marked right on the package. Just lay the reasonably correct change right by the cash register.
70. I'm afraid that the smallest I have is a $5 bill.
There's nothing to worry about. You'll just press the 7 and 5 in the cash register, then sail, the drawer will open. And when it does, take your change.
But the proprietor...
Oh, that's me. Go right ahead. I run a self-service drugstore.
Strictly.
Management thanks you for your patronage. Please come back again.
Aren't you afraid somebody will take advantage of you, Mr.
Phillips, Bill Phillips. Oh, no, I gave up years ago worrying about things like that.
Took up fishing instead?
Yeah, more people did more fishing, we wouldn't need Drutskos.
You'd be out of business.
More time for fishing. Did you ever try it?
No.
Oh, it's wonderful. You go out there in the woods and sit by a stream. Forget about your past and your future. Feel completely at ease. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, I have an idea.
Hey, you look kind of pale. As if you hadn't been out in the air and sun lately. How do you spend your time?
Well, I'm going to work for Mr. Praskins in the candy store.
Praskins? Oh, well, that's right. Oh, maybe we can go fishing sometime.
Well, I...
Oh, I wish I'd hired a girl. How did Praskins find you?
I answered his ad in the newspaper.
Oh, well, let me carry your bag. It's only down a few...
If I can get my own lipstick and make my own chains, I'm sure I can find the only candy store in town. Mr. Praskins?
Oh, yes. What can I do for you?
I'm Ann Martin.
Oh, yes, for the job. I guess I just wasn't expecting anyone so pretty.
Thank you. I'm a little nervous about this. I don't know much about the candy business.
Oh, there's nothing to it. All you need is patience and a sweet tooth.
Well, I have both.
Good. Oh, my fudge. I left it cooking on the stove. Won't you come back with me? We can get acquainted while I do my work.
All right, fine.
Good. How'd you come, my bud?
Just got in a few minutes ago.
Nice trip?
Oh, it's all right. The parole board says that I'm in your custody now.
Look out, this hot. That's right.
It was kind of you to take such an interest in a stranger. If it hadn't been for those letters you wrote about wanting to help me get a fresh start in life, I might never have gotten my parole.
Yeah, I believe everyone is entitled to a second chance. Especially you.
Because you knew my mother?
I never saw your mother in my life.
Then to what do I owe this strange interest in my reformation?
George Trent wants to see you.
George,
He's stopping at a motel just outside of town. I'll take you to him tonight.
it's possible he has some little plan in mind.
Trent doesn't have little plans. This is something big.
This is big, Ann. If it wasn't, I wouldn't have gone to all the trouble of wangling a parole for you.
Look, don't think I don't appreciate it. I don't think I could have stood it another minute, cooped up with all those yapping dames, playing the good behavior racket so I could get a break.
Hope you learned your lesson.
What, crime doesn't pay? Oh, not from you.
No, it doesn't pay when you go in on a half-baked deal like that jewel robbery.
I promise quick results.
You got that all right. 2 years in the pen?
Well, you can't help the bad break.
Oh, yes, you can, the way I operate. Now, the way I see it is like producing a play. You've got to plan all your action in advance to the smallest detail. And you've got to have a complete cast of skilled actors. Now, in this case, first I needed a man who could look as if he belonged in a small town. A man people could learn to trust. So I brought Ed all the way from Detroit and set him up here dipping chocolate. Now, this husky, wholesome-looking specimen was my choice to make an old lady feel safe with him as her chauffeur.
If the old lady is the one who's supposed to feel safe, what's she got that you want to take away from her?
Your little vacation hasn't done you any harm, I see. You're right. Madame Rousseau has got something I want.
Madame Rousseau. The suckers have fancy names.
What she's got is even fancier. Enough to keep all four of us on velvet for the rest of our lives.
You know, if I get caught violating my parole, they'll ring the curtain down on my neck.
I know how you feel, but it's taken me 10 months to set this up, and I know it's safe.
There's always a risk.
I believe I can convince you that this is foolproof. You've heard of a perfume called Captivating?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I've never been able to afford it.
You know why? Oil of myrrh.
Oil of what?
Myrrh. M-Y-R-R-H. It's a certain very rare oil used in its base. And without this special ingredient, there'd be no captivating perfume. And the Captivating Company is the only perfume company with access to it.
Why?
You see, Madame Rousseau owns every drop of this oil that's in existence. Stuff was dreamed up by her husband. He was killed during the war, and the formula died with him. When she fled France, she took all that was left of the stuff with her.
Oh, it looks as if the old lady's in the driver's seat.
And evidently she likes being there, because she'll sell only to the Captivating Company and only a few ounces at a time. 1 ounce of this oil is enough to make tankfuls of perfume. And the supply the old lady's got stashed away is worth a fortune.
And it just so happens that you know somebody who's willing to pay a fortune. What role do you plan to cast me in?
Professional companion to Madame Rousseau. We've been waiting for her present one to quit. She's finally leaving.
I fixed that.
Mark also fixed it so that the letter she wrote to an employment agency never made the mailbox.
Dear sir, it is my desire to engage a new female companion, preferably one with experience as a practical nurse.
Here's a certificate saying that Anne Martin has completed a course in practical nursing.
She must be fair, spirited, efficient, but not annoyingly so, sympathetic to an old lady's aches, pains, peculiarities, and unreasonable demands.
Thinking about that oil of myrrh ought to make you very sympathetic.
Very importantly, she must possess a certain culture and refinement. Oh, I'm a little out of practice at playing the well-bred, intellectual young lady.
You can pick up your old act again, Anne. That's why I had to have you for this spot. Nobody I know can show such class and refinement. Interested only in the better things.
If I should get this job with Madame Rousseau, what then?
Then, with great refinement and finesse, you find out where she hides the stuff. We take over from there.
Sounds fine, but I'm still worried about that parole board. You know, if they find out I'm not still with Praskins dipping marshmallows,
That's the beauty of it. Praskin keeps on writing them encouraging letters. He'll be able to produce you at any time.
And if I say no, Praskins suddenly develops writer's cramp. Is that it?
I won't censor his mail. Look, Anne, someday you'll thank me for counting you in on this.
Thanks in advance. Well, since you leave me such a wide choice, I accept. But on one condition. Once we split, I'm taking off for South America.
In advance, bon voyage.
What do you want me to do first?
Keep working with Praskins until I send word. Oh, and here, buy yourself some smart outfits. Something to impress the old girl.
This play of yours better be a success, Mr. Trent. If anything should go wrong.
Nothing will go wrong. I always allow a margin for error.
But if something should.
I'll be prepared. You eliminate error by eliminating the one who might commit it.
Three boxes gumdrops, 2 boxes peanut brittle, 1 box marshmallow sanders, and 2 chewies.
You're to drop them off at the hotel, Anne. Room 14, Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson must love candy.
From the way he gave me the order over the phone, he's insane about it.
$6.50 worth.
Tourists.
I'll be right back.
Say, Anne, you know, at these prices, it might not be so bad to stick to the candy business.
I'll speak to Trent about it.
Taxi, lady?
No, thanks. It's only a couple of blocks to the hotel. I'll walk it.
Oh, no, wait a minute. You may not believe this, but this car will take you any place you want to go.
Yes, I know. All I have to do is put the reasonably correct change in the carburetor, get behind the wheel, and drive myself. Besides, you said I needed the fresh air.
It's fresh in here.
You know, I wouldn't be at all surprised. What on earth is all this for?
Oh, never mind, never mind.
I don't mean to tell a native of Linwood how to get around town, but isn't the hotel in the opposite direction?
Mm-hmm.
And would you mind telling me where we're going?
Fishing.
Are you out of your mind, Mr. Phillips?
The name is Johnson. Gumdrops, peanut brittle, marshmallow sandwich, chewies.
Take me back to the shop.
Please don't be angry, Anne. We put off this fishing trip long enough. Besides, at the time, I didn't think it was going to cost me $6.50 to do it.
And what about Mr. Praskins?
I promised to get you back before he misses you. Anyway, this is your lunch hour. Look, I've clocked her for a week trying to figure out a way to ask you to spend it with me.
All right, so I have fish for lunch.
If we're lucky. If not, there's always candy.
There are fish here.
In fact, I've seen them.
Would you ever catch any?
Several.
Well, then we're either using the wrong bait or they've already eaten. Dessert!
Look, Ann, it's not important how many you catch. It's the pleasure you get out of trying.
You mean you're in this for the fishing and not the fish?
Well, sure. You know, being out here is the finest thing that could possibly happen. You're miles away from everything. Telephone calls, insurance salesmen, radio commercial. Out here, things like crime and punishment, and even taxes. They all disappear. You know, this is the kind of a life you'd like to have go on forever. Completely peaceful.
How nice if it could always be like this.
What makes you think it can?
A little matter of work. You better start back or I'm going to be unemployed.
Need for the simple life. Oh, say, speaking about the simple life, how come a girl like you works here in a small-town candy store?
Oh, I just got tired of the big city.
Before that?
Oh, before that, I worked in a real estate office. Then business got slow, and the boss started concentrating all his attention on me.
Well, I don't think you have to worry too much about Praskin's forcing himself on you. He seems like a harmless old guy.
He hasn't got a mean thought in his head.
Oh, but there's one fellow you better watch out for in this town. The druggist.
Thanks for the warning. I'll be on my guard.
Where have you been?
What kept you?
Sorry to have been so long. Such a nice day, I thought I'd take a little walk.
Walking seems to agree with you.
The fresh air.
You may not be getting too much of it after a while. Trent called. Tomorrow's your big day, your interview with Madame Rousseau. If everything goes all right, we'll be out of this flea-bitten burg in a couple of weeks. You won't mind that, will you?
The sooner the better. People really live in this morgue?
Just Madame Rousseau, her maid, me, and maybe you.
Yeah, maybe me. I don't know if I can take it.
Just remember, somewhere in there ought to be stuff that'll make us all rich.
Yes? Miss Anne Martin to see Madame Rousseau. Well, won't you come in? Wait in there. Madame Rousseau, I'm Anne Martin.
Sit down, Miss Martin. Over there where I can see you. You're very young.
Not too young, I hope.
One is never too young, Miss Martin. We're sometimes too old, but we're never too young.
Perhaps you'd like to see my letters of recommendation and nurse's certificate. I'm sure you'll find them most satisfactory.
I'm sure they are. You wouldn't want to show them to me. Letters of recommendation. I should enjoy just once reading one that said, the bearer is impossible, but you might like her. You find that amusing?
Oh, no, Madame.
Well, it is. People never tell the truth about others or themselves in such matters.
Well, then I'm afraid there's no other way for you to discover whether or not I'll be suitable.
There is one. Instinct. I never go against it.
And what does your instinct tell you about me?
Nothing yet. I find it difficult to understand why a pretty girl like you should desire to bury herself in a mausoleum with a crotchety old woman like me. Would you mind telling me why?
I need the money.
You're hired. Instinct never fails. Never fails.
Her instinct was so strong, she never let me out of her sight. Not that she suspected me. It was simply that the job meant devoting every minute of the day to her whims and fancies, anticipating her every wish and need. There were days when we went driving in the country. They were dull trips. She always insisted on taking the same route. There were other days when I played secretary, writing endless letters for her that never interested me, because they never mentioned the thing I was after. When I wasn't secretary, I was nurse. She was always ailing. Her eyes, particularly, were very bad. They required drops 4 and 5 times a day. Every night when she went to bed, I brought her a glass of warm wine. She insisted she couldn't sleep without it. Only when she finally fell asleep was I free to leave her, to take up my search for the essence. Night after night, quietly, carefully, systematically, I looked for the hiding place she had chosen to safeguard her supply of oil of myrrh. I couldn't even find so much as a clue to it. Room by room, closet by closet, basement to attic and down again. I looked everywhere, found nothing. I was ready to give up, to tell Trent I had failed. When suddenly, one morning...
Anne? Anne?
Yes, Madame.
Have Sophie set an extra place at dinner tonight. A very dear old friend of mine will be here.
Well, that'll be nice for you.
I'm having Mark drive you into town to do some shopping. And you start early enough to be at the station at 4 o'clock to meet Mr. Delius.
Mr. Delius?
There's a list of things I want at the market and the pharmacy. Now, candy means 1 pound of my favorite chocolates. Mr. Praskins will know. Mark will show you the candy store.
Yes, Madame.
That's very interesting.
So tell Trent I'm getting in solid with the old lady, but playing it slow and smart.
Is that all you have to report?
I don't want to push my luck. Stop worrying. I'm not overlooking a thing.
Give the old gal my warmest regards. Hmm? Oh, by the way, there's a friend of yours in here to see you this afternoon. Bill Phillips from the drugstore.
Oh, the fishing pharmacist. I'd almost forgotten about him.
I didn't know you knew him.
Oh, I bumped into him the minute I got off the bus. It's a small town.
He comes in quite often and asks about you.
Oh, small towns are full of nosy people.
Before he gets too nosy, Trent wants you to cool him off.
I'll take care of it this afternoon.
Hello, stranger. Say, I didn't know you could go for a job as a companion. I'd have hired you for mine.
Really? Here's a list of things Madame Rousseau would like from you.
Oh, I've now been put in my proper place.
Well, you having trouble reading Madame's handwriting?
This isn't puzzling me. Have I done something?
Not a thing, as far as I can see. In fact, you haven't even moved. And actually, I'm in quite a hurry.
It'll only take a moment. You like your new job?
Mm-hmm, very much.
No afternoons off for fishing?
No, Madame Rousseau needs constant attention. That's what I'm paid for.
Well, just the eye drops now. Say, how about a movie some night after she's asleep?
I'm on duty 24 hours a day in case Madame needs me.
Well, here...
Is there anything else?
No, thank you. You'll charge all this to Madame's account, of course.
Of course.
How charming of Madame Rousseau to have such an attractive companion.
It's a pleasure to be with her. She's a wonderful woman.
You should have seen her years ago back in Paris, when she was a young, beautiful American girl.
I've often wondered what she was like. You've been friends a long time, then?
Yes. I'm proud to have been one of the most intimate associates of Madame and her husband, André. André was considered a true genius by everyone in my business. Perfume, you know.
Oh, no, I didn't know.
Oh, perhaps you'd care a small sample of our product. Here.
Captivating. My favorite perfume.
Well, how nice.
Oh, Mr. Delios, you don't know what this means to me.
I'm very happy. Superb. Madame, you spoil me.
Ever the gallant, Alexis. Perfume and compliments.
Mr. Delios, tell me, what makes perfume so expensive? For instance, captivating.
It's the care we give it in the manufacture.
Nonsense. It's my oil of myrrh. What there is left of my husband's creation is all there is in the world. Or ever will be.
Do you recall that offer I made you on my last trip, Madame?
To sell you the whole amount at once? You remember my answer, Alexis.
For your entire supply, a certified check for $1,200,000.
Why, that's more than you offered me before. Thank you, Alexis. My answer's just the same.
I was afraid it would be.
Somehow, having the oil of myrrh in my possession gives me a feeling of security. It's better than money in the bank.
I suppose I must be satisfied with the usual amount, then.
I'll get it for you.
Thank you.
Oh, your cane, Madame.
Oh, I try to get along without it when I have company.
Oh, you shouldn't take such risks. I'll help her. The doctor wouldn't want you to walk up those stairs alone.
Oh. I'm getting more dependent on you than ever.
That's what I'm here for.
You go downstairs and keep Mr. Delios company.
But aren't you afraid without your cane?
Oh, my cane's in here. I'll be downstairs in a few moments.
I have to get back.
I'm so sorry to keep you waiting.
That's all right.
Here you are, Alexis.
Thank you. And here's your check for the usual amount, $3,000. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Don't worry about the future. My supply of the essence is still plentiful.
You look like you know something.
You ought to get the car and take Delios to the airport. As soon as you get to town, get in touch with Trent. I think I found out where the old lady keeps the stuff. And with a little luck, I should be able to locate it definitely tonight.
Need any help?
No. No, I don't need any help. Who's there? It's Anne. I thought you were asleep. I'm terribly sorry I disturbed you, but I haven't been able to sleep well lately, and I remembered you had some sedatives. I tiptoed in as quietly as I could.
Nothing is more horrible than lying awake at night. I know. Perhaps it's the dull life you lead here. Sitting around with a tired, fussy old lady. When you're so young and vital yourself.
Oh, but I like it here, madame. You mustn't worry about me.
I do so want you to be happy here, dear, because you've given such happiness to me. Somehow I never think of you as a companion. It's almost as if you were a daughter to me. Hope you don't think I'm a sentimental old fool.
I don't, madame. Really, I don't. We'd both better get some sleep now.
Good night, dear.
Well, Ann, what went wrong last night?
It happened to be the one night the old lady didn't drink her warm wine.
I thought we were home when you sent word you'd found out where she keeps the stuff.
She went up to her bedroom to get some Fidelios. All I need now is a good chance to look through there. She must have plenty of it. Delios made her a very fancy offer for her supply. 1,200,000.
Very fancy indeed. That ought to inspire you to find it quick.
It can't be too soon for me.
You just let me know. We'll move in and out fast. All right, Mark.
Let me know when you crack that room again so I can stand by.
I'll try again tonight.
I better go and see what she's doing up there.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Edwards. Edwards!
Yes, ma'am? I heard you.
I don't intend to sit here and shout orders at you. I want you to cut some roses and give them to Sophie for the table tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to dress for dinner tonight.
Oh, company again?
A girl should look her best when a young man is coming to dine. Well, go on, go on.
Oh, gin.
If our young dinner guest doesn't lose his heart to you, I'll never understand.
Well, it could be because you offer such competition. Oh, what a beautiful necklace.
My husband gave it to me years ago in Paris, before we were married. It's yours, dear.
Oh, no, madame, I
insist.
Oh, I couldn't.
And the earrings, too. To please me, Anne. Perhaps they're charmed. Perhaps they'll bring you some of the happiness I had.
Your guest has arrived, madame.
You tell him I'll be down in a moment or two?
Yes, madame.
Suppose you go down and start enchanting the gentleman.
Madame,
Please, Anne, please. Run along, dear.
Good evening, Anne.
Hello.
You look a little surprised.
It's just that Madame Rousseau was keeping the name of our guest a deep, dark mystery.
Well, that's the way it is when I'm invited anywhere. I find out that everybody isn't always glad to see me.
It's nice that you could come.
Oh, nothing would have kept me away tonight. Cigarette?
Oh, thanks. Bill, you didn't say anything to Madame Rousseau about me working for Praskins in town when you first met me, did you?
No. Why?
Well, I didn't tell her either. You see, I wanted this job very badly. Not just because of the money, but, well, because it's the sort of thing I like to do. And I was afraid that if Madame knew that I'd been a local counter girl, she wouldn't hire me as her companion.
I don't think it'd make any difference to Madame. But if that's the way you want it, it's a deal.
Thanks, Bill.
Nice to have something in common again.
I didn't know you and Madame were such friends.
I met Madame Rousseau in France during the war when I was working with the OSS. She's a marvelous woman. But I guess I don't have to tell you that.
No. And when you get to know her, you really appreciate her.
Bill! How are you?
Fine, thanks. I don't have to ask you. You've never looked better.
I'm in exceptionally good spirits tonight because I'm with my two favorite people. In fact, I think the occasion calls for champagne.
You're treating us to a very fine vintage, Madame. I haven't tasted wine like this since I lived in New York.
I didn't know you'd live there.
Well, sure. That's no trick. Millions of people live there. The trick is to get out.
And you're starting Bill on one of his favorite topics.
I used to look at all those people crowded on one little island, rushing and shoving and getting nowhere.
Well, unfortunately, a great many people have to crowd and shove simply to make a living and survive.
Well, you might make a little less than him would, but you'll survive a lot longer.
I advise you, Anne, not to debate with him. His attack is too well prepared.
I had an advertising business in New York, which I gave back to the Indians. And by the way, they're doing very well with it.
It's quite a jump from advertising to small-town druggist.
Oh, now don't let me confuse you. I majored in chemistry at college, and I've always had a hankering for it. It and fishing. Here in Linwood, I have both.
You see, Anne, we have before us a completely contented man.
Well, not quite completely. There's one more thing I want. Well, it's a little too early to get serious, so... To Madame?
Thank you, Bill. Check. You're not being serious enough, Bill, or you'd never allow yourself to be trapped by a drowsy old lady like me.
I can't understand how that happened.
I find it very stuffy in here. It's a lovely night for a drive in the open air.
Let's go.
I'll get your wraps, Madame.
Oh, I'm going to bed. Sophie will bring me my wine. Night drives are for the young, like you two.
Penny for your thoughts?
You'll be wasting your money.
I wonder. You know, Anne, you're a strange girl. In fact, you're a lot of strange girls.
What do you mean?
Well, first there was that swell girl I met, took fishing. And even though she couldn't bait her own hook, I thought she might develop into the perfect companion.
I tried to tell you then it couldn't always be like that.
And there was that woman that hurried in and out of my drugstore one day. I had to defrost the place after she left.
I wasn't very nice, was I, Bill? I'm sorry.
And then tonight, still another girl. Warm, charming, looking very lovely.
Thank you, sir.
I'm trying to figure you out.
If you find out anything, Bill, let me know, will you? Good night, Bill.
Anne.
Yes, Bill.
Another guy named Trent wants to see you in the morning.
How can I get away in the morning?
What was that druggist you'd get to him? A smart girl like you better figure a way to see Trent.
Maybe you belong behind a candy counter after all. Maybe you do better there.
She's doing all right for herself with that druggist.
Now, wait just a minute. Now, look, Ann, you've got me on the spot. I've been defending your work all along, but I don't blame the others for getting nervous.
This job is no joy to me. I'm the one that's hottest with the law. I'm taking the biggest chance of getting caught.
So you ought to want to see it finished successfully. So far, you haven't produced results.
Madame Rousseau is not so dumb. If the stuff's so precious, she's got it hidden where it's tough to find, not lying around loose like a bottle of aspirin. I'm doing the best I can.
It just isn't good enough.
If I'm so unsatisfactory, why don't you get another girl? Find yourself a new angle.
Say, why don't we light a match to the old dame's house? She'll sure...
When I want your advice, I'll ask for it. You really want out?
None of you seems satisfied with the way I'm operating.
Mark tells me the old lady's very kind to you. Now, it could be that Madame Rousseau's kindness and the philosophical pharmacist romancing you a little made you go soft on us?
I'd play along with them. I have to try to act a little bit like a normal human being so they won't be suspicious.
Maybe she already knows where the stuff is and wants to grab it for herself.
I don't think I'm that smart. Or that stupid.
It would be very stupid to try holding out on us, Anne.
What about holding out on me? Nobody said anything to me about Buzz Edwards.
Buzz Edwards, that cheap hood?
He doesn't just happen to be the Rousseau gardener.
No, under the circumstances, if Buzz Edwards is the gardener, that wouldn't be any coincidence. You sure, Anne?
In spite of him trying to keep me from recognizing him. Ask Mark. They seem to be pretty chummy.
His name's Buzz Edwards, all right, but I never knew him before he came to...
All right, all right. Well, now, let's relax and have a drink. Forget business.
Who can relax?
Later on, if we get restless, we'll go for a little drive. All of us.
Going any place in particular, Mr. Trent?
Just keep going straight ahead. I'll tell you where to turn off.
I didn't know you was in on this, Trent. I wouldn't cross you.
Gave me the whole thing with a little stimulation.
All that Mark told me was...
If our girl found the stuff, you and Mark were going to grab it first before we had a chance.
Oh, no.
All right, all right. You didn't know what you were getting into, Edward, so I'm going to let you off easy. There's a bus leaving town this afternoon. Be sure you're on it.
I'll see to that.
I'll be on it.
Well, Mark?
I thought he could help us all later. Maybe I made a mistake.
Remember what I said that first night in the hotel about the elimination of error?
Yeah, Mr. Trent, but please, Mr. Trent, please. Don't!
You've made this quite a pleasant place, Anne. I'm glad now I let you have your way about making things more cheerful. I'm might even say you've made my whole life seem much brighter. You thinking about Bill by any chance?
Partly.
You rather like him, don't you?
Why, yes, considering that I've seen him only a few times.
Oh, I knew I was in love with my husband the first moment I met him. All my instincts tell me that you and Bill were meant for each other.
Well, it's a nice thought, but I wouldn't count on it too much.
Oh, my dear, I'm not only going to count on it, I'm going to do everything I can to bring you two together. I'd like to know that someday everything I have will go to you and Bill.
It's time for the mail. I'll go and see if it's arrived yet.
Polly, maybe I rush things too much. Possibly other people have minds of their own, too.
Oh, miss. Is Madame Rousseau home?
Well, yes, she is, but can't I help you?
Well, I'm afraid not. I have seen Madame Rousseau personally. A little trouble with one of her employees.
Come in. I'll tell her you're here.
Thank you.
Madame Rousseau, there's a police officer here to see you.
Oh? Come in, officer.
Madame Rousseau, do you have someone working for you by the name of, Mark Foster?
Yes, he's my chauffeur.
Well, I hope this won't hit you too hard. We found his body in a ravine this morning, shot to death.
Oh, it doesn't seem possible. Why, who?
We thought perhaps you might have some idea about that. Do you know of any enemies that he had? Any trouble that he might have been in?
No, I knew nothing about his personal life.
Well, how about this young lady here? You a member of the family?
I'm employed as Madame Rousseau's companion.
Maybe you'd know. Any idea of anyone who'd want to kill this Foster?
This is all so horrible. I'm afraid I can't help you.
We might have to question you two again. If we find out anything, it gives us a new lead.
Sure, we'll do anything we can to help you find the murderer. Mark was a good young man.
Perhaps you don't know it, Madame Rousseau. Mark Foster had a pretty bad police record.
Mark? Police record?
Yes, ma'am. Convicted for a highway robbery and bank holdup. You're probably just as well off without him. Thanks anyway. We'll call you if we need you.
Doesn't seem possible. You hardly know whom you can trust. Oh, leave the mail now.
There's an airmail from Mr. Delios, Madame.
Oh. We'd better read what he says. It's a thank you letter. Not a moment.
No, it's more than that. The last bottle of essence you sold him was accidentally smashed in the laboratory. He's flying out here tomorrow to see if you'll be good enough to let him have some more.
Oh, yes. I'll take care of it.
Hello, Trent. Anne. This is the first chance I've had to call you. Listen, Delios is flying in tomorrow for another supply of oil of myrrh.
Wonderful. What plane's he coming in on? All right, that gives you another chance to locate it.
I'll locate it.
You just find out where that oil is, and we'll be in and away very fast. This is a big break. And, Anne, it would be fatal to make any mistakes.
And when I heard about your chauffeur, Madame Rousseau, I was terribly shocked. I can't imagine anyone in this happy little town doing such a thing. Must be outsiders.
Oh, come in, Anne. You know Mr. Praskins?
The candy man?
Of course.
I hadn't had a chance to see Madam for quite some time, but I thought I should stop and express my regrets.
You're very considerate, Mr. Praskins. Madame, I thought you might like me to be starting to the airport to pick up Mr. Delios.
Mr. Praskins is going to take care of that for us.
Mr. Praskins?
Knowing that we have no driver, Mr. Praskins very kindly offered to do anything he could.
I have to go that way on business.
That'll leave you free, Anne, to take the little car and do some shopping in town. The list won't take you very long. I managed to think of something so that you have to stop in at the drugstore.
Eye drops? Again, so soon?
Well, actually, I think this is a little trickery on Madame's part to get me in here.
You don't have to be tricked to come and see me, do you? You were in town. Now, you weren't going to go home without seeing me, were you?
We'll never know now, will we?
I was considering coming out to your place tonight. With the chauffeur and gardener gone, I figured a man might be welcome around the place. I know someone of the opposite sex would be welcome around my place. Oh, you know, just to send out the shirts to the laundry. Little things like that. Here you are.
Thank you, Bill.
Seriously, Anne, there's something I'd like to talk to you about very soon. How about tonight?
I can't tonight, Bill. Madame's having company, and I'll have to be with her.
Anne, will you tell me something now? Which girl are you today?
This is one of those times when I don't quite know myself. Goodbye, Bill.
Bye.
Yes, I had a very pleasant trip.
Madame Rousseau didn't have a chauffeur, so I offered to pick you up.
Well, I appreciate your kindness, Mr. Praskins.
Not at all. Her car's right across the street.
Thank you.
Say, excuse me, I was just at the candy store a few doors down looking for Mr. Praskins, but the store doesn't seem to be open.
Well, maybe it's by no candy day. I was thinking of closing up myself, go fishing.
Do you happen to know Miss Martin, Ann Martin, that works for Praskins?
Anne? Sure, but she hasn't worked there for several weeks now.
She hasn't. That's very disturbing.
Anne's a very disturbing girl. Is there something really wrong?
You know her fairly well?
Yeah. I thought I did.
I'd like to have a little talk with you.
Sure. Come on in the store.
You better hurry and change for dinner. I'll wait downstairs for Alexis.
Very well, Madame.
Oh, I forgot something.
Oh, could I get it for you?
No, I'll get it. Save myself a trip upstairs when Alexis comes. You run along, dear. It's about... I thought you were dressing.
I came to ask about the wine, Madame. Should Sophie serve the white or the red?
We're having a roast. Red wine, of course. Someday that girl's going to get something right, and I'll have a heart attack. If you don't hurry and get ready, I shall have another heart attack. Now, hurry up.
Yes, madame. I'll be right there. At last, I knew. The whole business was crystal clear. The little bottle she'd just taken from her medicine cabinet to turn over to Delios was the one Bill had handed me in the drugstore. And the time before, when Delios was coming, she'd also sent me for eye drops. I had the answer. The hiding place had never been in the house at all, but in Bill's drugstore. And Bill was its guardian. My job was done. All I had to do was call Trent and tip him off. That tip was worth maybe 100,000 to me. South America, freedom. And I couldn't do it. Maybe the old lady's instinct was right after all. Or maybe falling in love with Bill Phillips had softened me up. I don't know. I only knew I couldn't go through with it. That left one course open. To get out of there. Fast. The last piece of unfinished business was the letter I'd written to Bill, telling him the whole story. In it, I begged him to ask Madame Rousseau to forgive me, if she could. I didn't have the courage to say goodbye. I just ran.
Going someplace?
Weren't leaving, were you?
No, I was just going on an errand for Madame Rousseau. What are you doing here? What's happened to Delios?
Never mind about Delios.
Delivering some clothes to the poor and needy? That's the reason you got the suitcase?
Or maybe she's found the oil of myrrh and wasn't going to share it with us.
Oh, no, it isn't that. It's just that I can't find it. Look, there isn't
I've
any
gone
use...
to an awful lot of trouble to get that oil, Anne, and I want it.
What are you going to do?
You'll see. And when you do, I want you to be a very good girl.
Good evening, Miss Martin. Madame Rousseau is expecting us, I believe.
Alexis? Alexis, Where's Mr. Delios?
Mr. Delios sends his warmest regards, Madame, and regrets that he was unable to come in person as he'd planned.
So he sent his new general manager, Mr. Tracy.
I'm afraid I'm a very poor substitute for your old friend, Madame, but at the last moment, pressure of work kept him at his desk.
I always look forward to his visits. Sit down, won't you?
Thank you.
Excuse me.
But I suppose Alexis is a very busy man.
We all are back there. The unfortunate accident to our last little bottle of essence created quite an emergency. In fact, I'll have to hurry back as soon as you and I can complete our little transaction. Here's Mr. Delios' usual check.
Thank you.
And now, Madame, if you'd be good enough to get our bottle of perfume essence.
I brought it down earlier so as to have it ready for Alexis. The customary amount of myrrh.
Thank you, Madame. The magic elixir. And now, Madame Rousseau, about the rest of the oil of myrrh.
The rest of it?
Your entire supply.
As I always told Alexis, I've no intention of selling it all at once.
And I have no intention of buying it.
You don't talk like a representative of my good friend, Mr. Delios.
Mr. Delios' methods are gentler than mine. Where is it?
I beg your pardon.
Where is it?
If you think you can make me tell that, you're wasting your time.
We've wasted too much time already trying to find the oil in a nice way so nobody would be hurt. But that plan doesn't seem to have worked.
Madame Rousseau, as an old friend, I want to make this as easy for you as I possibly can. Why don't you tell us where the oil of myrrh is? It would be so simple. That way we wouldn't have to employ any means that would be painful to you or to me.
And quickly phone the police.
Anne wouldn't want to do that.
Being just out of prison, Anne wouldn't want the police to know about all this. Anne works for us, you know.
Anne. Get out, all of you. You think you can make me tell the secret? Get out! I tell you, get out! Oh, my glass. You've broken my glass.
Oh, Madame, tell them what they want to know, please.
So you can have your share.
Oh, no, for your sake. They'll do anything now.
Anything we have to.
Can't make me tell.
No.
Oh, no, wait. Oh, Madame, I beg of you, tell them.
No.
Then I will.
Before you said you didn't know.
Maybe she was lying then to throw us off.
It isn't in the house.
Anne.
The old lady sounds like Anne is right.
Where is it, Anne? Don't hold out on us. Things have changed now.
Let Praskins come with me. You wouldn't harm an old lady. Promise me you won't, and I'll get it for you.
Better play this straight, Anne.
I'll see that she does.
We're stopping at the drugstore
What for?
to get something for Madame Rousseau's eyes. Without those glasses you broke, she'll be blind.
Good. She can't identify any pictures of us. You just keep on driving.
You want the oil of myrrh, don't you? We're stopping.
I wouldn't try to tell this guy anything special. You understand?
I'm not trying to arrange a return trip to prison.
Why, a strange coincidence. I'm open late tonight. And this is a coincidence.
Evening, Bill.
What can I do for you?
Bill, I'd like some eye drops for Madame Rousseau.
Eye drops? Since it was only this afternoon.
Well, Madame's glasses got broken. She dropped them, and, well, you know how she is without her glasses, how her eyes are.
Oh, sure. I'll get some. And a man, a friend of yours, is around here this afternoon looking for you. He left a message. Can you come back here a moment?
Be smart, or you won't even get a chance to go back to jail.
All right, it's kind of personal.
I'm sorry, Bill. Not right now. I wouldn't have prevailed on Mr. Praskins to drive me down here if it hadn't been an emergency.
Madame Rousseau must really be in trouble. That's too bad. I'll be right with you, Anne. Well, here you are. The best place for the fastest service in town.
Wait a minute. You know, going back to prison for shooting you might not be so bad.
I'll take it, Anne.
I'll phone the police, Bill. We've got to get to Madame Rousseau's fast.
The phone's in the back.
Well, Bill, now you know all about me. Not a very pretty story, is it?
This switch ought to clean it up a little.
Know your cue? I'll be right over here.
Trent! Come on, Praskins is waiting outside in the car for us.
Don't you get what you went after?
Certainly. Gallons of it.
You'd better come with us. What's happened to Praskins?
He's taking the cure. Now walk in front of me and don't try anything. Just walk. Here comes your escort. You know, they're going to be kind of curious about Delius.
He's in the trunk compartment.
Don't tell me, tell them.
May I help you, madame?
Seems like a nightmare to me.
It's all finished now.
Anne, why didn't you go through with it?
I don't know.
You don't have to explain, dear. I know. Do you remember I once told you you seemed like a daughter to me?
I hope that someday I deserve that. I have to leave now, madame. I'll be gone a while. Maybe quite a while, but I'd like to come back someday, if you'll let me.
Come back, Anne, as soon as you can.
Anne. Anne.
Anne. I think I'd better go find that parole officer.